Welcome to the HPE Threat Labs attack demo series. Today, we are unpacking a full Bumblebee and Akira ransomware intrusion scenario. Then we'll show you exactly how an SRX firewall can break this attack chain long before it ever reaches the exfiltration and ransomware stages. Here's the complete attack chain we're going to demonstrate today. I'll walk you through it step by step from the initial access all the way to the ransomware deployment. It starts with a privileged IT admin searching on Bing for a legitimate tool like Manage Engine Op Manager. The admin clicks a malicious SEO poison search result and lands on a highly convincing lookalike website. Believing it's safe, they download a Trojanized MSI installer and run it on their workstation. This installer triggers a DLL sideloading attack. It uses a legitimate Windows file consent.exe to load a malicious MSI mg32.dll file. This silently loads the Bumblebee malware into memory. Bumblebee established command and control using dynamically generated domains or DGAs. After some time, Bumblebee drops a second stage beacon called Adaptive C2. The attackers use this for reconnaissance and active directory enumeration, mapping out the environment to identify high-value targets. From there, they escalate privileges, move laterally to the domain controller, and pivot to other systems to cement their control. Finally, once access is established and data is stolen, the attacker deploys the Akira ransomware and begins encrypting systems. Let's simulate this attack in a virtual machine without protection. In this example, our user visits a fake website ip-scanner.org. The user clicks download, pulling down a malicious installer named advancedipscanner.msi. When they run it, a standard UAC prompt appears. Behind the scenes, the installer drops these three files into the Windows temp folder: the legitimate Advanced IP Scanner executable consent.exe and our malicious MSI mg32.dll. Consent.exe immediately executes and sideloads that malicious DLL, effectively launching the Bumblebee loader. Right after execution, Bumblebee begins generating and contacting DGA domains to find an active command and control server, as shown in these sysmon logs. To show the impact of this intrusion, we're also going to run the Akira ransomware payload, locker.exe. As you can see in Process Monitor, immediately after execution, there's a massive spike in file activity. The encrypted files are quickly renamed with the .akira extension, and the ransom note akira_readme.txt is dropped. One interesting characteristic of Akira is that it doesn't encrypt the entire file. Instead, it encrypts only portions, like the beginning and the end, to maximize encryption speed. In this Python script, you can actually still see some readable parts. This partial encryption allows operators to move faster, though it occasionally allows victims to perform partial data recovery. Now, let's switch to the defense side and see how the SRX firewall stops this attack. For this demo, our lab environment consists of an SRX firewall, Windows clients in the trust zone, and an Ubuntu malware server in the untrust zone, which will host our fake websites and malware files. We'll be using Security Director Cloud to manage the SRX. First, let's take a look at the security policies we have in place. On this policy, we have enabled IPS, Secontal, Advanced Anti-Malware, and Flow-Based AV. You can hover each of the policy to see the summary. Looking closely at the Advanced Anti-Malware policy, we've configured it to block HTTP downloads and take action if a file's threat level hits 7 or higher. Advanced Anti-Malware is our cloud-based protection, combining static and dynamic analysis with machine learning to detect threats. Similarly, our flow-based antivirus is configured to block files with a threat level of 7 and above. Flow-based AV is our on-back solution that blocks threats inline. This on-back solution also includes machine learning model that detects threats at line rate without relying on signatures. For Second we are blocking command and control traffic at a threat level of 8 and above. And we have the infected host threshold set to 6. This infected host feed is critical. It's how the SRX automatically identifies and isolates compromised clients on the network. Finally, to handle the DGA threat, we've configured a security metadata streaming policy. We've enabled detection for DNS DGA, DNS tunneling, and encrypted C2. These engines are also trained using machine learning to better protect against DNS threats. This ensures we catch malware communications even when traditional signatures fall short. With our policies set, we are now ready to deploy these into our SRX. We will be using the client 10.0.1.11 for this demo. Right now, this host threat level is 0. Remember, our policy states that if a host reaches a threat level of 6, it gets added to the infected host feed and will be isolated and lose network access. We can browse Wikipedia normally, confirming we have internet access. Now, we visit the fake ip-scanner.org site and attempt to download the MSI file. Notice that the download does not proceed. Let's check the SRX logs in Security Director Cloud. We can see that the host 10.0.1.11 is now included in the infected host feed with a maximum threat level of 10. Drilling into this event, we see that there is a malware hit, and clicking into that shows that advanced IP scanner.msi file was detected. Because the host hit the threshold, it is effectively isolated. It can no longer access the network, stopping the attack from progressing any further in the environment. We can confirm on the client side that internet access has been completely cut off. To show you how the SRX handles the later stages of the attack, I'm going to manually exclude this host from the infected host feed so it can get back online. Now, let's simulate the command and control phase. We'll execute the malware locally. As you can see in the Wireshark, Bumblebee attempts to make DGA requests. Back in Security Director, we see those DGA domains being flagged. Looking at the detailed event log, we see an SMS malicious verdict event. The action taken is dropped, meaning the SRX successfully detected the malicious DNS behavior before a C2 connection could be established. Finally, let's look at the ransomware payload itself. We will use PowerShell to attempt a direct download of the Akira ransomware locker.exe. As you can see, the request is immediately blocked as shown in this file. Back in Security Director, our logs confirm that locker.exe was caught in transit with a threat level of 10, preventing the ransomware from ever reaching the endpoint. And that concludes our demo. As you've seen, the SRX firewall, guided by Security Director Cloud, provides defense in depth. By using AI and machine learning, both in the cloud and on backs, it detects and blocks this complex attack at the download stage, the C2 stage, and the payload delivery stage, keeping your network safe from data theft and ransomware. Thanks for watching the HPE Threat Labs Attack Demo Series.